So I watched the Katt Williams Joe Rogan interview, and I did this based on the very astute observations of one of the people who was so kind as to watch my video. I'm sorry that your name escapes me, but this gentleman, pointed out that he saw a lot of narcissism in Katt Williams during this interview. And if you look back through my videos, I did a video on Katt Williams. It's called Katt Williams Isn't a Genius or something like that, something along those lines. And I touch on some of the things that this commenter brought out, basically about the arrogance, the overcompensation for things, and the general sense that this person is posturing, right? And I have to say that it was the same thing, only 3 fucking hours on the Joe Rogan podcast. Now, I don't know how one logically sits there and speaks with such certainty about the backstory of the Smurfs and how that's related to this and it's related to that. I don't know how you sit back and talk about, oh, we know exactly where the Garden of Eden is and it's by these, these rivers and this and that, but there's not one river name mentioned. I just think it's weird how anybody with a sense of humility could sit there and say these things. Now, is it tongue in cheek? A lot of it's probably tongue in cheek. Is it two guys sitting there who are probably baked out of their fucking minds? I didn't see Joe smoking, but I know he smokes that weed. And Katt was puffing on that weed. So I know this could just be two guys, passing it back and forth. And to be honest, back in the day, when I was like 19 years old and I'm sitting in a cipher passing a blunt around with 3 other people, I probably was saying some shit like that too. I remember one stupid fucking thing I said was, while stoned, was, hey, I wonder if the mountains are really mountains or if perhaps they're dinosaur carcasses with rocks stacked on top. Like, I've said some shit like that. But the way I just laughed and giggled at that should be the logical response when you say some shit like that. Now, in terms of the posturing of Katt Williams, right? Notice how he doesn't ask questions. He simply answers them. And that's not just because he's a guest and he's being interviewed. That's because this is a person who has to go into a room and try to make himself feel like the biggest guy in the room. Why? Probably because he's a little guy. Katt Williams, I believe, is like 5'2", 5'1", 5'2", and for a man, that's almost child-sized, right? So I think that no matter his success and his, his money, his accolades, and his skills, because I do like him as a comedian. I'll stop and watch him. I'm not hating on the abilities, but I do think that weighs on his mind a lot. And the reason why I feel that he is a narcissist is because if you notice, when a narcissist is having a conversation, such as Katt Williams and Joe Rogan is having, they're never curious. Notice how they're never curious. Notice how it was Joe Rogan like, I wonder why they did this, and I wonder if the Anaki did this, and I wonder what the pyramids were for, and. While Katt Williams sits there arrogantly rocking back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Doing that posturing of, oh, I'm just so fucking knowledgeable, and oh, your little questions, that's a stupid little question, but I'm not gonna call it stupid. I'm just gonna give you the smug, stupid look. If there's anything in this world I don't like, it's a smart, dumb asshole. I don't like a smart, dumb motherfucker. And I say smart, dumb for this reason. One, going back to the posturing and the lack of curiosity. The wise man knows he knows nothing. The wise man knows that there's always something he can learn. The wise man views knowledge like gold. So if you're interested in the Anunnaki and Bigfoot and fucking the Loch Ness Monster and Smurfs and Hobbits and fucking Lucky Charms and all this other bullshit, you would think in an exchange with another person who's also interested in these things that you would ask some questions. But he did not. I also was kind of infuriated by the slow speaking. Okay, now I don't mind a slow speaker if they're really trying to be thoughtful. I think it's a great sign of maturity when one stops and assesses what they're thinking, assesses what they're gonna say, assesses or digests the information that they had just received from the other party. You can see when somebody's doing that and it's genuine, and what it communicates is a desire to really have an exchange with someone, right? With him doing the and rocking back and smacking. I can't stand smacking. That's just me. I'm probably OCD. There's a lot of shit I can't stand. I'm a crotchety old man at heart. Um, but when he was doing that, what I saw was someone trying to set something up like, I'm about to drop a jewel right now, right? I'm about to drop a jewel. And so let's say Joe Rogan said, yeah, the Bigfoot was seen in North Dakota, and instead of being, you know, like a big hairy brown thing, it's actually purple with pink dots. Can you believe that? And Katt Williams would take a long pause, rock back and forth about 8 to 10 seconds, and make that face and furrow his brow like he's really thinking some deep shit, like he's about to say some Dalai Lama type shit. And he'll say, well, we always knew that it was a Bigfoot that was purple with pink dots. I mean, how could it not be a Bigfoot that's purple with pink dots? I mean, if you just look at the way life works, it just makes sense. And you're sitting there like, you shouldn't I'm sitting there like, you shouldn't speak with certainty about some bullshit like that. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't speak with such certainty that fucking, you know exactly, the coordinates to the lost city of Atlantis, right? So why do I care about this? I care about this not because of Katt Williams. Katt Williams is going to be Katt Williams till the day he dies, and that's okay, just like I'm going to be Holden till the day I die, right? But I worry about the masses. I worry about the fact that if you go and look at the comments under this interview, everybody's like, wow, I could listen to Katt forever. Katt's the truth. Katt is a genius. Katt is this. No, what Katt is a person who's perfected the art of speaking confidently while not being confident. And we all have to do it. We all go to interviews where we may not feel qualified for the job, or we may not feel like we have the education or whatever it is. Right? So sometimes you have to do that. But in an exchange where there's nothing to be gained or lost, other than some eyes on you, why behave that way? Because he behaves that way with everyone. That's why he had to do this shit with Shannon Sharp with the like, I was the top recruit of whatever, and for what that sport could have been, I don't know. Maybe being a jockey, a little guy you throw on the back of a horse, maybe something like that. But if you notice, the bigger the guy that he's talking to, the bigger he has to go. And I worry that so many people are susceptible to shitty game. Now, I could see if his game was tight and he really had game like a pimp, because if your game is tight, nobody should even see your game. If you have game like real game, and I've seen a few out there, I've seen a few people in real life, not celebrities, but I've seen a few people with real game, and you don't even know what game you're in until you fucking lost the game. Okay? It really surprises me and saddens me that people think this guy is like the second coming of Nostradamus or some shit. It was a joke. It was basically, well, I'll say this. I wonder if he couldn't handle his weed and that's why it just came off the way it came off. Like maybe The pause was, oh shit, I'm so high, I can't remember what I was about to say. But suffice it to say, I was not impressed. I don't see why everybody thought it was the greatest interview. Again, I'm not a hater. I love his comedy. But he's an arrogant guy. He's a guy who tries to pretend to be more than what he is in terms of his intellect. I think it's really weird, very briefly, that with all the 3,000 books, which he doubled down on, because the whole internet called him a fucking liar, and he probably has been reading the comments. It's interesting that a guy that's read that many books and continues to read that many books, I'm assuming, didn't make a reference to any books. He mentioned Little Women and the Three Musketeers. Okay, that's required reading in school. I read that shit in ninth grade. Okay, and they both sucked. Well, Little Women sucked. Three Musketeers was okay. It was okay. Wasn't my favorite. Okay, I like Catcher in the Rye. I like that type shit. But the only books you reference while talking about Atlantis and the aliens and black holes and all this were two books that everybody and their mom had to read for required reading in standard school. Fucking public school, I should say. Where is this great intellect? You know, I noticed Joe Rogan, for all his goofy bullshit, was making references to articles and different books he had read and different philosophers and saying names. I didn't see any of that from Katt. I didn't see one reference to anything about, oh yeah, we know where the Ark is, and we know where fucking the lost city of Atlantis is, and we know that the pyramids are really power centers. Okay, where's the book? Where's the book on Egyptology? Where's the Egyptologist that you're going to quote? Where is it? You know, the moral of the story is don't allow yourself to be snowed by what everybody says about what they think they know. Don't ever allow yourself to be intimidated by somebody who talks a good game. Because it's talk. Okay? Don't be intimidated, but do listen. And that's what I want to encourage everybody to do with this channel. Listen to people. Watch their patterns. Because it's a way to protect yourself from propaganda, and it's a way to protect yourself from wasting your fucking time.